Hello and welcome to Helping Other People Excel, or I get on the right side of my screen here, HOPE, H-O-P-E, Helping Other People Excel. And we're glad that you could join us for this half hour. We appreciate the opportunity to come and spend some time with you and to share with you and hopefully life and encourage you and uplift you, because we all need hope. We all need encouragement and uplifting. And so we're going to try and go over some things today to help us think positively, have positive results in our life, and maybe turn around the way our lives are going and have a different perspective. So we work on that a lot. It's important that we work on that a lot, because I was just talking to JB, our engineer back here, and you know, learning new habits is so important. I believe it said that winning is a habit, but unfortunately so is losing. And so we want to remember that, and we want to develop and encourage ourselves and each other to develop good habits of winning and not of losing. If we're having a losing streak, then we need to work on changing our thinking and changing those habits. And changing habits is a tough job. So we have to learn to eat with our left hand instead of our right hand, because our arm's in a sling, you know, and it forces us to learn new habits. And so we want to do that. I was talking to a gal earlier this week, and she was telling me, you know, we got struck up a conversation. She worked at a gas station. Really nice gal, seemed pretty happy-go-lucky, and she said, you know, that's not how my luck goes. I always have bad luck. I've had bad luck all my life. And I thought to myself, boy, you know, that's a bad thing to be confessing. That might be why she has bad luck. And so I talked to her a little bit, and I said, you know, if you learn new habits and if you learn to tell yourself different things, you know, you hear what you tell yourself. And, you know, I felt so bad for her in my heart, because I knew that it was those things that she was telling herself that was holding her back, and indeed even giving her bad luck. And if she would have just, if she would just change that for herself, get these new winning habits that Vince Lombardi talked about, and not the losing habits that so many of us have ingrained in our lives, that she could have a different life. And changing that perspective and that outlook that she had on life, she might not have to, I say have to, she might not work at a gas station anymore. She might find that changing those habits, changing that perspective in life, can change and elevate her job. She could get promoted to manager. She could get a different job altogether at a whole different place, another company. You know, so it's really important what we tell ourselves. And I know we've talked about that before in the past. And if it sounds like I'm harping on that same old string, it's because I know what it's like to have those bad habits. And in spite of all my efforts, I tried and I tried and I tried, and I worked hard all the time to try and have better habits. Well, not to have better habits, to have a better life. And I didn't realize that it was the losing habit that I had that was keeping me from being successful, truly successful. You know, we all have our little spot in life that we've kind of nestled into. We got our comfort zone. We've got our day-to-day routines that we have. And, you know, part of those routines are, you've either got a winning attitude and a winning habit, or you've got a losing attitude and a losing habit. And so I really want to encourage you. Those are a couple of things that just struck me this week as I was going through my week. They just kind of jumped out at me and said, yeah, you know, you gotta work on that. And I really hope that this young lady has the opportunity to think things over. I recommended to her, of course, as you all know, my favorite video is Earl Nightingale and The Strangest Secret in the World. Part of the reason why that's such a favorite video of mine is because it really touches the core of why we aren't successful in life. In the world we live in today, in the greatest country in the world, maybe that's debatable, but it certainly has been the greatest country in the world. and it can be again. But that's something that I think is really amazing to me, that we just have gotten into this rut of losing habit, of losing attitudes. And instead of thinking positively and instead of thinking like winners, we've got this dejected, just general attitude. And I know that so much of that in our lives, I know in my life, so much of that came from the things that I put in my head, the things I listened to, the things I watched on television. And, I just came to the realization, but I didn't see that at first because, you can't see the forest for the trees. It's that old cliche. Can't see the forest for the trees. And I couldn't see that I wasn't successful in my life because of the attitudes and the thinking that the input that I was putting in my ears and my eyes, of the negative television, the shows that I watched, the news that I heard. Seldom is the news happy or positive or, hey, we can overcome this, we can do this. It's always negative, like we're being bombarded day to day by negative news because supposedly that's what sells. Is that really what sells? Is that really what you want to hear? Do you really want to hear negative things? Or is somebody maybe pumping us negative things so that we won't be successful? Maybe that's keeping us back. And maybe they want all the money for themselves. There's a good argument to be said for that there are those out there that want all the money. And the sad part of it is that what they don't understand is that if they weren't so greedy, that if they were willing to share the wealth with others, that we would all be wealthier. And in exchange for that, we would spend more and buy more. And that rising tide, as I've said before, raises all ships. So they would be wealthier themselves because we became wealthier. But because they're greedy and they want all of it for themselves, they don't want to give any of it to us or to you. And so consequently, they lower their own wealth levels because they've lowered our wealth levels. And, we can only spend what we've got. If we don't have enough, we cut back. We spend less. We, don't travel as often. We buy cheaper things at the store. We, don't go out to dinner as often. And consequently, the whole economy suffers. What if we got a positive news from the television? What if we got on a daily basis, you know what, everything's looking up, everything's looking better, we all got more jobs, the income is up, just the general attitude of our world is up, it's positive. What if we blocked out those negative things and said, I'm not going to put those in my ears anymore? I can tell you from my own experience that works. Because for 3 years now, I have not listened to the media, to the mainstream media. I have turned that off. And instead, I've chosen to put in my mind good things. I've chosen to listen to good audios and videos like Earl Nightingale. I've chosen to read good books. And as a result, my own attitude and my own outlook and my own perspective has become better. And I believe that we can do this. I believe that you are an amazing person. I believe that God created you for an amazing purpose, and that if you could find what that purpose was, you could be successful, you could help others be successful, you could help other people out of the doldrums by what? Raising the tide. Take the money that God gives you, that He blesses you with, and invest it in yourself, not in toys, not in movies or computers or video games, but invest it in your mind. I believe it was Ben Franklin that said an investment in yourself is never wasted. It's the most effective investment you could make. People are always looking for that right investment on Wall Street. They want to invest in these stocks or those stocks, or this one seems to be rising, so I'm going to go buy that. But if they would invest in their mind, if they would invest in their thinking, if they would invest in changing their attitude, spend a little money on yourself, not on a manicure and a, pedicure and a spa. No, spend it on your mind. Push out the negative, push out that bad stuff that is bombarding us on a day-to-day basis. That losing attitude, that losing habit, push that out. Learn new habits, learn new things, learn new ideas. Put those things in your head and watch your life change as it has changed for me. You can do this. I've seen it work for others. I've seen it work for millionaires. I've seen it work for men that were highly educated with 6 degrees behind their name. And I've seen it work for a lowly apprentice technician, electrician apprentice, a person who barely graduated from high school. I've seen it work for people that have had to get GEDs. And I've seen it by investing in their mind and investing in their thinking. I've seen it turn their lives around, and I've seen them go on a path toward success. And I know that all of them are going to get there. Some of them are already there. Some of them are there way ahead of me. But that's what I saw when I took a look at this idea of changing my thinking and changing my thoughts. I saw hope for me. H-O-P-E. Oh, wrong side again. I saw hope for me. Helping other people excel. That is what I'm here for, because when I saw how it changed my life, when I saw how it turned my thinking around, and when I saw how it changed, we have a little program called Project 180 that's going to turn your life 180 degrees around, and instead of going down that losing path, now you're going to go down the path to success. And that program entailed listening to so many CDs, listening and reading so many books, and so on, and following those ideas and concepts. We turned our lives around, and we're headed in the right direction now. And I know that for those that are even coming on now, that the end result is going to be a good one, because we know where that path goes. We also know where the losing path goes. Mr. Lombardi said, winning is a habit. We know where that habit will take you. If you keep working that habit, you too will be a winner. If you continue to work the other habit, that 180 degrees behind, and where most of us have been, if we're not still there now, if we continue to work that path, we're going to wind up with more losing. We're going to wind up with that same concept and perspective in our mind of, I always have bad luck. I can never quite seem to get it. I always screw it up. I'm just a screw up. I'm not a screw up. You're not a screw up. You can be successful. You can change the way you think. But it does require staying on it. You can't bend a tree over rapidly without breaking it. But if you take and just gently pull on the top of it, and you pull a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, that tree eventually will bend right over into a U. And eventually, if it's held in that place long enough, the little branches will start growing up, and it will stay like that. We've all seen pictures on Facebook, maybe, on the internet, on TV, of trees that grew in unusual shapes. Why? Because some pressure was put against them that caused them to grow around that object. But it takes steady, gentle pressure. You take a ship, for example. You can't turn a ship on a dime. It takes quite a big, long radius. A semi takes quite a big, long radius to turn it around. And our lives are the same way. If we want to turn our lives around, if we want to change our thinking from that losing habit to the winning habit that Vince Lombardi talked about, we need to apply gentle, steady, day-to-day pressure, not pressure, but keep it on our mind. And that's why listening to good things and putting these good things in our mind is so important. Because if we will do that, it will turn your life around and literally turn you around 180 degrees and change you from a losing attitude and losing luck, if you want to call it that. Bad luck. Excuse me. I always have bad luck. No, don't tell yourself that. When you tell yourself that, it goes in your ears and you hear it. And then what happens? You planted more bad luck. And as a result, you will reap more bad luck. Dr. Nightingale, Earl Nightingale, hit it right on the head. He hit the nail on the head. What you are, what you plant in your mind. What you put in there is what you become. I have begun to learn that and understand that, and I wish I'd have heard this and understood it. I wish it would have sunk into me 30 years ago. How my life would have been different from then until now. But it's not too late. It's always time. You know, it's been said that there are 2 good times to plant a tree. 30 years ago and right now. There's always a good time. There's 2 good times for you to change your thinking and start thinking positively. 30 years ago, like it would have been for me, or right now. But the cool thing is, right now is not too late. If you start now, you too will still get a full-grown tree in 30 years. But if you don't start one now, you certainly won't. If you don't start planting those good seeds in your mind, you'll not see the fruits of success in the future, because those fruits grow on the seeds that you're going to plant today. What fruit you reap tomorrow, what fruit you reap next year, is going to have a lot to do with what you put in your mind, what you plant there today. So I really want to encourage you to plant good things in your mind. You know, I was going through and watched a movie this week that really caught my attention, and I was just really, it was one of those aha moments kind of, where I watched this movie, and it's called Tomorrowland. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, I'd like to encourage you to see it. I make no money from marketing their movie. Little disclaimer there, fine print. However, Tomorrowland was a really great movie. It's kind of a kid's movie. It's good and clean, wholesome video to watch, but it teaches a good principle and good concepts and good ideas that go along with what I've been saying today. In Tomorrowland, we have Richard Clooney? George Clooney. Thanks. Thank you, JB. I knew you'd set me straight. George Clooney. And, who was the other guy? The guy from House. You got it? House. The House TV show? What's that?
I know. I'm just trying to think of it.
I can't remember his name either. But anyway, he was the other.
Guy.
Yep, he's the other actor on here. And they both did an excellent job. And in the movie, there's these little kids that have ideas, and they want to be inventors, you know, and that was George Clooney as a little boy who was going to be an inventor, and he created this rocket packet. Great movie anyway. I'm going to let you go ahead and watch it and see it. But at the end of the movie, they discovered what I've been saying. And okay, it's a movie, and movies can have everything, you know, they don't necessarily portray reality. However, a lot of good movie writers write in good moral ideas and concepts. And in that concept, they wrote in that it turned out that there was this thing that had been created that was putting negative thoughts into people's heads. And that this thing predicted the future. And it all of a sudden started predicting that the world was going to be destroyed, and it was going to crash, and it was going to collapse. Maybe something similar to what you've been hearing on television these days, or on the internet, or maybe even from some of your friends. I got to confess, maybe I might have been one of those negative friends 3 years ago that might have said something like that. But at any rate, this thing was giving the news to people about the collapse of the world, and the more it gave them that information, the more they were going that direction. It made it worse. It didn't make it better. It didn't correct the problem like they thought it would. And so the people were literally being herded, I might say, maybe by this device that was telling them the world is going to crash, the world is going to collapse, the world is coming to an end. It kept bombarding their mind and their brains with that. And it certainly, the future predicting device was saying, oh yeah, the world's going to collapse, it's going to crash, it's getting worse, it's going to crash sooner, it's coming anytime. Didn't really say when. Sounds a lot like the news, doesn't it? I think it does. I'm constantly hearing stuff on the news, and I am not going to repeat it here. But I'm constantly hearing stuff on the news about how terrible our world is and how, we're going to have a crash here. We're coming to an end. We're going to have some big disaster that's going to implode the whole earth, and we're all going to be wiped out. And as long as that attitude and that thought was being promoted in Tomorrowland in this to these people, they were destined to be wiped out. It was for sure on the future telling thing. And this future predicting thing was totally accurate. And so the people, a couple of people really realized what was going on, and George Clooney was one of them, and he said, we got to stop this. We got to turn this around. The problem is that feeding these people this negative information is causing the very thing that we're hoping to help them avoid. So what they did then is they got a group of people together to go out and spread the word that, you know what, we can fix this. We can turn this around. We can make this happen. You are not a loser. You're a winner. God created you for a certain purpose, and that purpose was to be victorious. And when those people started going out and spreading this positive word, all of a sudden the future predictor changed. And instead of showing the destruction of the earth and the destruction of things, it started showing things improving, and the grass was greening up, and the trees were growing better, and everything was better. I'm telling you, that's what's going on in our minds, in our own minds. That's what's going on with us. If we bombard ourselves with that negative, losing habit that Vince Lombardi talked about, if we bombard our minds with that every day, what we put in has got to come out. You cannot plant an onion in the ground and get tomatoes. You can't plant a walnut tree and get acorns. It is not going to happen. It's not going to happen in real life. It's not going to happen in your head. What you plant in your head, what you plant in your mind, what you put in your ears, what you watch with your eyes, whether it's reading a book or whether it's watching 2.5 Men or whatever your favorite show is. Stop planting that bad stuff. It's killing you. It was killing me. And 3 years ago, I came up with some new information. Somebody told me some new information. Einstein said that the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It's not going to happen. That is insanity, and it's a good definition of insanity. If you want something different in your life, if you're not happy with the way you're living, if you're not happy with the results you're getting, then it's time for you to plant something different. Do something different. And turn from that losing attitude habit to the winning habit that Vince Lombardi talked about. I really hope that something here I said today has touched your heart and has reached your heart and your home. I believe that it's my job to go out and spread the positive word now and to stamp out the negative. I'm telling you, if you're watching that television, turn it off. Unless it's my show, of course. WCT in general is usually pretty safe. Stop watching that negative news. I don't care if it's CNN, which we like to laugh at and say constantly negative news, or if it's Fox News, F-A-U-X, FAW news, fake news. I know. Some of you believe that FAW news is the real news. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. It's negative. I don't care what that news is. If you're not putting good, clean, positive thoughts in your head, then you're going to get out exactly what you plant. You're going to get onions when you plant onion seeds. So turn that off. Block that out. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you put in here. That's what's really important. Put good in. Read some good, wholesome books. I've got a list of the top 5 books that I believe of all times. How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success by Frank Bettcher. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Les Giblin's book on how to have confidence and power in dealing with people. Personalities Plus by Florence Littauer, maybe? I think that's who it is. And might be slipping on that one. And there's another one. Oh, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. Those are 5 amazing books. If you'd spend your time reading those 5 books instead of watching your favorite television show, who's getting rich off your favorite television show? Are you making any prospects there? Are you getting any wealthier? Or is somebody in Hollywood getting more prosperous because of your watching their show? Put something good in your mind. Do something good for yourself. Raise your tide and those around you. And we can beat this thing. We can come out on top again. America once was the strongest, most powerful, most wealthy nation in the world. And we can be there again with the right attitude. But if we continue to listen to this negativity, we're going to crash too for sure, because you can't get tomatoes from an onion bulb. It's not going to happen. I'm running out of time here now, and I haven't even thanked my sponsors yet. But I would like to thank Perry from Perry's Place up in Cedar Springs, 90 North Main. Nice selection of fine herbs, teas, and more. He's got essential oils for your health, everything to help your body be healthier. He's great at giving good consulting on that kind of thing. If you've got something that you think is bothering you, go the natural way. Just say no to drugs. Go see Perry, and I know that he'll give you some good advice on whatever it is that ails you. And then also, the pampermenaturally.com is a great little website for fine herbs, herbs and teas at Perry. Soaps and lotions and things that are good for your skin. If your skin could talk, it would say pamper me naturally. And so we want to encourage you to go there and get some healthy things for your skin, some healthy things for your internals and your body from Perry. And then also, of course, feed your mind. And that's why we're here. And we want to bring hope to you, wherever you are, whoever you are. There is hope. We can do this. If something I've said today has ministered to your heart and has touched you in any way, if you've learned something new and you're excited about what you heard and you want to share it with somebody, first of all, come and share it with me. My name is Jim Pate. That's P as in Peter, A-T-E. I've been your host today. Probably should have introduced myself earlier in the day, but you can reach me via email at jim.pate@gmail.com, and I know that JB will put that on the screen for us there. And also, if you want to get a hold of me by phone, 616-799-0517 is my personal cell phone. Oftentimes I'm unable to answer, but please call, leave me a message. It's important to me. I'd like to hear from you. And so do one of those 2 things there. You can get a hold of me. And I just really hope that something we've said here today has really touched your heart, and it will make a difference in your life as it has made a difference in my life. And it's my goal to share the changes to you that I've learned in the last 3 years that have made such a difference in my life. Also, if you're interested in some of the books that I've talked about today, I can't help you with a movie. You have to go out and get that from one of your local movie places. But if you want to go to my website, JB will put it here on the screen for you, and you'll be able to go there. And all the fine books and many, many more and CDs are there available for you to help you change your life and bring hope to you. So you have a good week. God bless you, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time here on Hope.